or make you people certain, because sometimes it confuses you a lot when you talk about messengers only. Okay, so I'm just giving the title first messenger and the second messenger. So the first messenger is from Thebes, and the second messenger can be considered as from the Corinth.
Corinth.
Okay, so it was another shepherd gave you to me, Oedipus. Who was he? Can you tell me who he was? Messenger, I think he was said to be one of lowest people. Oedipus, you mean the lowest who was king here years ago? Messenger, yes, King Louis. And the man was one of his herdsmen. So this was the same man, like he was one of his servants, he was one of his shepherds. So, messenger, that is he still alive? Oedipus says, is he still alive? Can I see him? Messenger, these men here know best about such things, because I come from the other city state, so I do not know about whether he lives or dies. Okay? And then Oedipus, does anyone here know this shepherd that he is talking about? Have you seen him in? No. Okay, yes. What is the next dialogue?
Does anyone here know this shepherd that he is talking about? Have you seen him in the fields or in the town?
Okay, okay. So have you seen him in the fields or in the town? If you have, tell me. If you have, tell me. It is time things were made plain. Corvus, I think the man he means is the same shepherd you have already asked to see. Jocasta perhaps could tell you something. Okay? And now you will see that when they were like the messenger was talking about, okay, that I have taken you from the first messenger, and I at that time I just untied your feet because they were tied together with a rope, or they were sometimes you can say that they were pierced. So like the second messenger was talking about the same. So now, on the other hand, we see a situation in which Jocasta, she knows everything about the childhood of Oedipus Rex, because she is ultimately of Oedipus Rex's mother. So because she is the one, like she, you can say, tied the feet of the little child, and she asked someone like the first messenger to get rid of the child. So she is now filled with the knowledge, now filled with the second part of the prophecy that Oedipus Rex is my child. On the other side, she's thinking, because when Oedipus Rex was talking about, when he was talking to the second messenger, so she was at a side, she was perceiving the thing. She was understanding that, okay, there is something that is pointing at me. So she came to know about that what is going on. So that is why we see that she is now in a situation that she is full of knowledge that he is the son. Koragos, I think that the man is the same. So Oedipus, do you know anything about him, lady? Is he the man we have summoned? Is that the man the shepherd means? Jocasta. Oh, I think of it. Forget this herdsman. Forget it all. This talk is a waste of time. 80%. Now, this is the, you can say, this is the recognition, or this is the scene where Jocasta recognizes about the whole story or about everything. So, why think of him? Why think of him? Forget this herdsman and forget about all the things, and the talk is a waste of time. 80%. How can you say that when the clues to my true birth are in my hand? Jocasta. For God's love, let us have no more questioning. Is your life nothing to you? My own, my own is pain enough for me to bear. Okay, so my pain is on enough to bear this, and stop questioning about the shepherd, the messenger, or about your own birth, because he knows about, because she knows that she is the mother of Oedipus Rex. She knows that she has given that child after tying his feet to get rid of. So that is why she knows everything about. But Oedipus Rex, he doesn't know, because he doesn't know that what really happened when he was a child. He only knows that he is not the son of, the second recognition is that he is not the son of Hero and Polybus. This is what he knows about his birth. But now Oedipus Rex will be asking everyone to know about his birth, especially of Jocasta, because he is entrusted to know about his birth. And you know that Oedipus Rex is a man who is all the time curious in every matter, in everything. He is a man who is, you can say, going into the depth of the thing. So that is why we will see that he will keep on asking to Jocasta that what I am, where I come from. Am I the child of a poor lady or of a worker, or is my caste is very low that you are ashamed to tell me about? So these are the things, the question that he will be asking to Jocasta. But because we know that Jocasta is asking him to stop, because she knows already. She has known about the truth or about the prophecy that has been just, you can say, accomplished. So we say that it was, you need not worry. Suppose my mother a slave and born of slave. No baseness can touch you. No shame can touch you. So do not fear to tell me about my parents, whether I am a slave son or whether I am a born of a slave. So no baseness, no shame can touch you in that sense, because you know you must be thinking that if Jocasta will be telling about Oedipus Rex's birth, real birth, like if he is from, uh, he has been taken from any slave, or he has been born as a slave, so that the people will be feeling ashamed that how a slave can be a king. So that is why no baseness can touch you, no shame can touch you, Jocasta. Listen to me. I beg you, do not do this thing. Oedipus, I will not listen. The truth must be made known. It must be made known, because everything that I say is for your own good. Oedipus, my own good? Snaps my patience, then I want none of it. So there is no need to be patient then. I want none of it. Snap my patience. You can take it. Jocasta, you are fatly wrong. May you never learn who you are. Because if you will come to know about your birth, about your parents, then there will be no more worst person in the world than you, Oedipus Rex. And Oedipus, go, one of you, and bring Shaffer here. Let us leave the women to brag of her royal name. So if she boasts her royal name or of her dignity, so let it do. Because I just need to know about my birth, about my parents. So if she is actually boasting of her royalty or of her status, so she can. But I just need to know about Jocasta. Ah, miserable, this is the only word I have for you now. And this is the only word I can ever have. And she is now exit into the palace. Cora goes, why has she left us, Oedipus? Why was she gone? In such a passion of sorrow, I fear this silence. So now you see that Koragos is now, this is again another example of foreshadowing where they can already sense or whether they can foreshadow the situation, because I fear the silence. There's something uh, going to be disastrous or going to be frightful. Something dreadful may come of it. Oedipus, let it come. Whoever base my birth, I must know about it. The queen, like a woman, is perhaps ashamed to think of my low origin, but I am a child of luck. Underline this statement. You know that he is not a child of luck. He is worst of all. Like he is the one who never wants to be. So we see that he knows, wants to know about his birth, and he thinks that Queen, like Jocasta, is perhaps ashamed to think of my low origin. But I am a child of luck. I cannot be dishonored. Luck is my mother, the passing month, my brother. To have seen me rich and poor. If this is so, how could I wish that I were someone else? How could I not be glad to know about my worth? So if I am a child of any slave or of any born slave, but I will not be feeling any kind of ashamed to announce that, because I have seen I have seen me rich and poor, and I will not be feeling any kind of regret, any kind of compunction to announce that I did belong to a low origin in the past. And then in all three strophes, chorus, if ever the coming time were known to my heart's pondering, Catron. Now by heaven I see the torches at the festival of the next full moon, and see the dance and hear the choice song. A grace to your gentle shade, mountains where Oedipus was found. O mountain god of a noble race, may the god who heals us lend his aid, and let that glory come to pass for our king's cradling ground. And then antistrophe of the nymphs that flower beyond the years who bore you, royal child, to Pan of the hills, or the Timberline Apollo, cold is delight where the upland clears, or Hermes of whom Callan's height are piled, or flushed as evening cloud, great Dionysus, rumor of mountains. He was at he who found you there, and caught you up in his own proud arms from the sweet god ravisher, who laughed by the muses' fountain. So now they all are foreshadowing the situation basically, in which they are talking about the scene that really happened in the past years, and they are also talking about that that what will happen actually to Oedipus Rex, because in a secret or in a hidden word. So you will see that, okay, like every speech of chorus or every singing of chorus, they are most of the time are in the riddles, in the form of the riddles, because they are in the story, in the play, to just to take or maintain the interest of the audience or of the readers. So that is why every piece of speech or their singing is basically a kind of foreshadowing, that's letting the audience and the readers give a clue about the upcoming situation. Okay, so now in the hidden words, they talked about everything, that how Oedipus Rex was taken, and how this was the knowledge of the gods and the goddesses, that they try to plan all these things for Oedipus Rex, and then this is what it is. So then scene 4, in which Oedipus Rex addressing everyone like, sirs, though I do not know the man, I think I see him coming. So this shepherd we want, he is old, like our friend here, and then the men bringing him seem to be servants of my house. But you can tell if you have ever seen him. So now the first messenger or the shepherd from the thieves who have long, long ago left the thieves. This is the same person who just came to Jocasta and touched her hands with his and asked her permission to go him into the frontier district where the shepherds only live. So this is the same man who has been called again in the chamber or in the on the demand of Oedipus Rex because he was curious to know about everything that really happened and how he has taken me from who. So now he is in the chamber, and on the other hand, we see the second messenger who was from the Corinth. So the messenger or the shepherd at the same time from the thieves, the same person. And then again, the shepherd and the messenger, messenger number two, he is from the Corinth at the same time. So they both are there in the chambers in front of Oedipus Rex. So now Oedipus Rex will be making himself clear about both of the situations because he has been for a while for almost 20 years in the Corinth and for some time before after his birth, sometimes in Thebes, and after 20 years, he spent most of his time in the Thebes once again. So this is a kind of, you can say, trilogy or triangle. So everything will be now clear. So then enter Shepherd escorted by servant. Cora goes, I know him. He was Louis' man. You can trust because this is a again one of the things that whenever a man is sworn to any king or any queen, so that man is all the time considered as trustworthy, or he is considered the as the trustful man of that kingdom or of that king or of queen, even after leaving the land, because the person who has sworn to the servant who has sworn to their king, so that you can say oath remains or lasts with that person forever. Okay, so that is why we see that that person can be trusted. Oedipus, tell me first, you from Corinth, is this the shepherd we were discussing? So now the second messenger or the shepherd, now Oedipus Rex asks to the second messenger that okay, you have to identify that man, the man who is coming, that is this the same man that we were discussing or we were talking about? Messenger, this is the very man. Oedipus to shepherd, come here. No, look at me. You must answer everything I ask. You belong to Louis? Shepherd, yes, born his slave, brought up in his house. Oedipus, tell me what kind of work did you do for him? Shepherd, I was a shepherd of his most of my life. So I was a shepherd. My duty was to tend the flocks, tend the sheep and goats of King Louis or of his kingdom. So this is my duty. Okay. And Oedipus, where mainly did you go for the pastures? So where did you mostly go to pasture your flocks? Shepherds sometimes get wrong, sometimes the hills nearby. So sometimes I visited in the past. Sometimes I visit Cathron, and sometimes the hills or the mountains nearby. Oedipus, do you remember ever seeing this man out there? So now he's pointing towards the second messenger that okay, you have to recognize, you have to identify this man. Have you ever seen him there doing the same? Shepherd, what would he be doing there, this man? So now the first messenger is old enough, so he is now not like recognizing him, or he is not actually paying attention on the situation, and he's, you can say again, saying that why or what that man will be doing here, or this man. Oedipus, this man standing here, have you ever seen him before? Shepherd, no, at least not to my recollection. So now, as I've already told, that it's been a long time that this situation has been ended, and you know that every time they meet and every time they talk with one another, so it's been a long time, and he doesn't know even the situation that what really happened. So that is why the second messenger will give him a clue that the first messenger will be understanding, and he will be responding that okay, yes, I now remember. Okay, now shepherd, no, at least not in my recollection, not in my memory, as I can remember. Messenger, and this is not strange, my lord, but I'll refresh his memory. So now you can easily understand messenger is the second messenger or the second shepherd, and the shepherd is the first messenger and the first shepherd. Okay, so now messenger, the second messenger, you can say, or the second shepherd, he says that I will refresh his memory. So now he is just taking or reminding him something, and he says his memory. He must remember when we two spent 3 whole seasons together, March to September, on Cathron or thereabout. He had 2 flocks, I had one. Each autumn I'd drive mine, and he would go back with his to Louis sheepfold. Is this not true, just I have described it? Shepherd. Now he remembered. He remembered after so many years when he told about the situation that okay, you had 2 flocks and I had one, and we spent our 3 seasons on the mountains of Cathron and this and that, and said he said, true, yes, but it was all so long ago. It was so long ago that this happened. Messenger, well then, do you remember back in those days that you gave a baby boy to bring up as my own? Did you? So now this is the concern of everyone around there who are actually standing in the chambers of Oedipus Rex. So this is the concern. This is not the concern that they will be discussing sheep and goats over there. But the real concern is that messenger needs to ask that whether you have given me a baby boy to bring up or to grow up as my own. Shepherd, what if I did? What are you trying to say? Messenger, King Oedipus was once that little child. So now Shepherd knows definitely about that King Oedipus Rex is a king, because at that time this was the reason that he asked for the permission to go to into the frontier district, just because of that reason. Because when he feared that Oedipus Rex is the new king of Thebes, and at that time he left the land. So now he said that Oedipus Rex was once that little child shepherd. Damn you! Hold your tongue, Oedipus. No more of that. No more of that. It is your tongue needs watching, not this man. Okay, so it is you that you need to watch your tongue, not this man's shepherd, my king, my master. Why? What is it I have done wrong? I have done no wrong with you or any Oedipus. You have not answered his question about the boy. Shepherd, he does not know. He's only making trouble. He doesn't know. Because Shepherd also knows that if I will be telling the things, then the last clue will also be resolved. The last curiosity will also be resolved. He does not know. He's only making trouble. Oedipus, come. Speak plainly, or it will go hard with you. It will go hard with you. So you have to speak plainly. Whatever you have to speak, speak truth in God's name. Do not torture an old man. Do not torture an old man. I cannot bear the. Now you see that the situation is going to be happened with Oedipus Rex, and the people around Oedipus Rex cannot bear. So you see that how this painful situation is. Like you, this is the same situation if like the person whom we know that is our friends, if their friends, father, mother, or any other siblings, if they die on in an accident, so and if we have to tell the situation, so how we are actually feeling, you can say, to tell that person about their loved one that they die. So the same situation is here. Like everyone around Oedipus Rex, they are feeling that okay, but there must be something. There must be a kind of, you can say, a kind of destruction, a kind of flood that will stop us not to say this thing. So this is the situation that everyone is feeling fear. That what will happen, Oedipus Rex, after he knows that what he has done. So that is why he says that in God's name, do not torture an old man. Do not make me speak. Oedipus, come here, one of you. Bind his arms behind. Tie his hand. Bind his hand. Shepherd, unhappy king, what more do you wish to learn? What more do you wish to learn? Oedipus, did you give this man the child he speaks of? Shepherd, I did. I did, and I would to God I had died that every day. Now you see the situation, the power of the dialogues by Sophocles. Now he is feeling remorse, he is feeling demise, that why did I give that child to the shepherd, the shepherd from the Catron? So I would have died at that day. I would have died at that time before giving you to another shepherd, because this is the thing that now I can just now see. This is again one of the worst situations, and this is worse than death. So I would to God I had died that ever. Oedipus, you will die now. You will die now unless you speak the truth, shepherd. Yet if I speak the truth I am worse than death. But if I will speak the truth, I will be feeling worse than death. I will be feeling more pain than death will give. Oedipus, very well. Since you insist of upon delaying, so if you want to delay this, you can do this. Therefore, no, I have told you already that I gave him the boy. Oedipus, where did you get him? From your house? From somewhere else? Schaffer, not from mine. No, a man gave him to me. A man gave him to me? Is that man here? Do you know whose slave he was? Shepherd, for God's love, my king, do not ask me anymore. Do not ask me anymore. I cannot tell you about this anymore. Shepherd, for God's love, my king, do not ask. Oedipus, you are a dead man if I have to ask you again. I will not ask you again, otherwise you are a dead man. Tell me everything, Shepherd. Then the child was from the palace of Lois. Oedipus, a slave child or a child of his own line? So now you see that Oedipus Rex is thinking that this is the matter, that he is the child of any slave and everyone is feeling ashamed to announce that. But his, you can say, his investigation or his inquiry into every matter in detail is making him suffer. So this is again the same thing, that he is just keep on asking and asking and going into the depth and going into the depth of the questions and of the answers, so that he may know about his real birth. And if he's a man of if he's a son of any slave, so like he can be a perfect example for everyone. He can tell everyone that, okay, if I was a slave, so just because of my excellency, because of my leadership qualities, I became a queen. So he thinks that he can be exemplifying himself just because of his low origin, if he comes to know about that he belongs to a low race. But he is wrong, that he is not going into the right direction. He is actually asking the shepherd for something else. So a slave child or child of his own life, I am on the brink of dreadful speech. So I cannot go even though anywhere, because I am on the edge of the speech, of the dreadful speech. And this is the climax. 80% eye of dreadful hearing, yet I must hear. Even though if it is a dreadful, a horrific hearing, a horrific listening, then I must listen. I must bear this. Therefore, if you must be told, then they said it was Louis' child. But it is your wife who can tell you about that. Oedipus, my wife? Did she give it to you? Shepherd, my lord, she did. Oedipus, do you know why? I was told to get rid of it. Ah, unspeakable mother. He is an unspeakable mother. Shepherd, there had been prophecies, because the situation was already clear for Oedipus Rex. And it was only the clues that he needs. And now Shepherd is speaking in clues and saying that I was told to get rid of it. They had been prophecies. Oedipus, tell me. It was said that the boy would kill his own father. Oedipus, then why did you give him over to this old man? Why? Why did you give him over to this old man? Shepherd, I pitied the baby, my king, and I thought that this man would take him far away to his own country. He saved him for, but for what a fate. He saved him, but for what a fate. For if you are what this man says you are, no man living is more wretched than you, Oedipus. So what man this man tells? This, if you are the same man that the man he describes, no man living is more ashamed, damned, cursed, wretched than you, Oedipus. Ah, God, it was true, all prophecies. Now, O light, may I look on you for the last time? I, Oedipus, damned in his birth, in his marriage, damned in the blood he shed with his own hand, he rushes into the palace. Jocasta is already gone, and he also rushes into the palace. And what will happen, we will see afterwards, that what is like, what does he do with him, and what Jocasta um, does do with her after they come to know about all the things, all the happenings of the past, of after listening the witnesses, after listening the shepherd and the messenger. So what they are going to do with them, we will be witnessing that in the next lecture. And I hope so that in today's lecture, everything that I have taught you people about, it is clear. But still, if you have any question to ask, then you can ask me now. It is your time.
Sir, was it the same trend that a child of a slave could not be a king, or to be a slave was a shame at that time?
It is basically. because the royal classes or the kings or the queens, they follow a legacy, they follow a pedigree of the other kings. You see that Oedipus Rex was talking about Cadmus, Agirons, or the other fathers and forefathers of that line. So you see that they are following the king line or the king's, you can say, legacy of the series in that sum. So if someone comes into that legacy, so it means they are considered as based or as a shame for the kingship, because at that time it was their mentality that a next king or a next you can say prince must be from the line of the same king. Like sometimes it must be the heir of the king, जिसका जानशीन होता है. It must be. And if that cannot be, then there must be a kin or a relative of the king who deserves to be a king. So then that must be the next king. So no one can come from the other lines or from other races to be or to claim the kingship, because the thing that this is again a kind of position or a status that is appointed by the gods. So Oedipus Rex was holding this status that someone else can be the king instead of the king himself or the heir of the king.
Same in the case with Oedipus. No one knew that he was a king from another land. They just appointed him because he just saved them from Sphinx.
Hmm.
So
Yes, it is the case. Like, yeah, I know that's a good point. Basically, the people had no choice at that time. The people had no choice. So they were in a situation that they were at that time needed a person who actually made them free or set them free from that monstrous disease. The people in that happiness, like any man, if like they are actually making them free from that monster, so it was a kind of you can say um, a thing or a knowledge about that person, that okay, this person is must be sent from the gods. This person is sent from the gods because he has the qualities of the godly powers, because none of the anyone else has already resolved the riddles of that monster. So it means that in this distress, so this is the man that is sent by the god. So just because of that belief, they have actually accepted Oedipus Rex as their new king. If they had nothing to do with any kind of, you can say, with with Sphinx or any of the other thing, if they have actually resolved any other thing, because this is because of the Sphinx, because Sphinx was also planted, because she was also planted by the gods. So that is why there must be anything, you can say, good for the people, like they have been waiting for any other man who must be sent from the same gods. तो इसीलिए अगर एडिपस रेक्स वहां पे आता भी है, तो एडिपस रेक्स इसी वजह से उसको अपॉइंट किया जाता है न्यूकुंग, because the people think that that king Oedipus Rex is sent by the gods. तो इसी वजह से उसको न्यू किंग जो है वो अपॉइंट किया जाता है. अदरवाइज अगर कोई और एक्शन होता, कोई और पॉजिटिव एक्शन करता, वो कोई और लोगों को किसी और डिस्ट्रेस से निकालता, तो शायद वो इतने ज्यादा उसको इतना ओब्लाइज ना करते. लेकिन ये जो कॉज था, क्योंकि वो एक समझ लें कि गॉड्स की तरफ से जो पनिश्ड थे लोग उस स्फिंक्स की वजह से, कि वो पनिश्ड हैं, सारी की सारी सिटी पनिश्ड है उस स्फिंक्स से. तो दे मस्ट हैव थॉट एट दैट टाइम दैट किंग एडिपस रेक्स इज सेंट फ्रॉम द गॉड्स, बिकॉज उस स्फिंक्स को जो है उसको मर्डर करना, उसको जो है वो एक स्टोन में टर्न करना, ये कोई आम कॉमन जो है वो ह्यूमन बीइंग का काम नहीं था. अगर होना होता तो फिर बहुत सालों से बहुत इतना टाइम क्यों लगा, और ऐसे बंदे से क्यों करवाया जिसको जो है वो कोई नॉलेज भी नहीं था इसके बारे में. तो इसीलिए जो है वो दे थिंक दैट ही इज a special messenger or special appointed of the god in the king. So that is why this was all, you can say, um, was regarding or was pertaining with the situation. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, anyone else?
Sir, I want to know
Yes.
that why Jocasta is hiding the truth from Oedipus. I will read the line that uh, why think of him? Forget this horseman, forget it all. This talk is a waste of time. This is showing that Jocasta is hiding the truth from Oedipus. Why she is doing so?
Because she doesn't want to, you can say, more and more tell about or know Oedipus Rex about the truth or about the secrets or about the things that have already cleared to Jocasta, because everything has been cleared for Jocasta, because she already knew about the truth or about everything, that okay, Oedipus Rex is not my husband. Basically, he is my child first. So that is why she does not share. She does not want to give the same pain to Oedipus Rex after indulging so much, or after making a deep inquiry into that matter. So just because of that thing, just to escape from that thing, she just insists on stopping himself, because she does not want that he must be knowing about that. Okay, I am a son of King Louis and of Jocasta. So that is why she just asks him to stop it, because she already knows about that. Okay, she is the mother of Oedipus Rex, so she just wants to keep that pain in her heart. Okay, so that is why she does not share, or she does not want more to talk about that matter, or to talk, or to, you can say, investigate that matter anymore. Okay, so this is the reason. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, anyone else?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes, go on.
Sir, we have studied in the previous lecture that Greeks believe more in fate. So, my question
Yes.
is that Oedipus is a victim of fate or a victim of his own actions?
Uh, Actually, Rafi, this is the question that we will be discussing after the completion of this play, because I think that this is the question that we must be justifying with the lines, with the quotations, okay, with the appropriate quotations from the text. Because I know that, like, you can justify the both, and even though you can justify that, okay, King Oedipus Rex is a hero or a tragic, you can say, hero of his fate. He has been, you can say, victimized by the gods, because there was an element of fate. And on the other hand, we can see that, okay, whatever he has done, it was his independent action, and we can justify that as well. So I think that we must discuss this at the end of the lecture, where we will be discussing, sorry, at end of the play, where we will be discussing, because at that time we will be having much knowledge of both the point of views, like Oedipus Rex as a free will hero, or on the other hand as a um, tragedy of the fate, okay, or as a tragic hero. So then I think we must discuss this answer, because this is the main question in the text, and we will not leaving that. Is that clear? So we will be discussing in a time. Yes, soon after the completion of the text. And then after completion of this text, we will be discussing more than 4 or 5 important points or questions, or any question that you like related to this. Anything that comes in your mind or relate to any text, or any line or any character, whatever you want to like, that will be your day entirely. We will be arranging one class of 2 hours, in which you will be asking and asking and asking and asking questions, okay, and I will be responding them all with with textual references. Okay, so you may just get clear with everything that what we have studied. Yes, yes. Anyone else?
So I was researching about the Oedipus Rex, and I got a term which was actually being used so many times, which was Oedipus complex. So I didn't get the central point of view of the person who actually gave this, Sigmund Freud, that what he actually explained in this term, Oedipus complex. So I just want to ask that what it is actually.
Again, the same thing. Actually, you people are just going a little bit advanced. Okay, all these questions must be asked, I think, after this. Like what it is simply this is a term that was used by Sigmund Freud.
जी
Sigmund
जी.
Freud was a psychiatrist. He was a psychologist, and his this term was basically a kind of, you can say, relationship, a relationship of a child or of a son with his mother. Okay, so this is called Oedipus complex, and there is another electro complex that is the another, you can say, the psychological term or another. So what Sigmund Freud tells about the Oedipus complex, he said that it is a kind of, you can say, a psychosexual relationship of a child. When a child is born, yes, you can mute your mic, Shabazz. We can, you can mute your mic. Yes. So it is a kind of, you can say, a psychosexual relationship of a child with his mother, and he says that this relationship develops when a child is born, even though when a child is actually feeded by his mother. So that is the first relationship, and before that he talks about when a child is in the womb of a mother. So he starts developing some relationship. Why? Because ultimately the child is the opposite gender to mother. Okay, if it is a baby boy, so that child is actually being an infant, or being a, you can say, when the child is in early stages, so he starts developing his affiliation with the mother like an opposite gender. And after that, when the child is born, when he sees the mother, and after that when a child is fed by the mother, so you see that all these things, these are basically the psycho sexual stages of a child that he describes in that theory. And I think that we will be having all these conversations after the completion of the text, okay? Because in which Sigmund Freud's theory of Oedipus complex will be discussed, in which he psychoanalytically talks about the child boy's relationship with his mother. And we will see that he talks about, like, rather we can see that, okay, this is totally unbearable or unspeakable to talk something about life. But we see that, okay, a kind of, you can say, a sexual desire is involved in that situation, what Sigmund Freud told, okay, what he told us about that. So we will be discussing, if you will feel comfortable with this, that okay, whether this is a sexual involvement or a desire of a child with his mother or anything else. Like, if definitely, because what we feel, what we see, that if Oedipus Rex, like, was having a kind of natural or a sacred natural relationship with his mother, see, he couldn't have done, he couldn't have even though go near to his mother. Like, if there was a kind of sacred natural, you can say, intuition was involved. Like, I am using this term, like, it is sacred natural intuition was involved, a kind of knowledge that is provided by the god himself in the minds of a child, that okay, whatever you will do, like, you can have a sexual relationship with everyone, but because of that intuition, whenever you want to go near your mother or near your sibling, so you must have something in your mind, a kind of like your character or your personality or your mind is actually uh, alarming you or giving you an alarm, or stop it. She's your mother. Okay, so that is why we can see that there is no sacred natural intuition that is provided by the gods to human beings. So that is why on that basis Sigmund Freud talks about the relationship of a child to the mother, or to, even though in the Electra complex also, or in the Electra complex, we see that a father's relationship is with her, with his daughter. So we will be talking about this in detail in after the soon after the completion of the text. Otherwise, I think that whatever I have provided you, this is enough for your question. Is that clear, Shabazz?
Yes, sir. I have heard. I have read this term. I was not actually believing that how it could be possible that the child between 3 to 6 becoming unconsciously sexually attached to his mother and hostile towards his father. So that's why I was just clearing that this point that might be possible that I have read the statement wrong.
No,
Wrong
this is the
statement.
same case. And Sigmund Freud, he is one of the most renowned theorists. And you know that he talked about each and everything in with references, and with reasonable details, with evidences that no one can deny. And definitely the thing that I have just told, that we do not have anything on mind. For example, if we are just, when we are born and uh, we are kept aside for a long time, for 20 years from our mothers, and after that if we have to ask to marry our mothers, because we do not have any knowledge that okay, we are the son of this mother, because there is no any kind of sacred natural intuition in our mind, any kind of sacred relationship provided by the god in our mind, that must be stopping us while doing this, when after so many years we are meeting with the mother or with our loved one. So on that basis he is true, he is logical in that sense. And if we think that okay, what is our relationship with our mother, so we know that it is already sacred. And what you can see, that he was just, and what the Europeans are doing nowadays, you can see that they are doing the same. They have some like electra complexes, they have some Oedipus complexes, they have some like the incest sibling relationships, sexual relationship with one another, that you see in their civilization, that you see in their culture. And let me tell you one thing, like I have seen the Electra complex, the same case in my village too. Like I have seen, like a father was involved in a relationship with his daughter. I think that I must not be telling you people this, but what I can see that the theorists are basically the representatives. They are actually giving you the knowledge of the unknown things as well. So like you see that in our society, you watch a lot of cases, because you are the mature people. You watch a lot of cases on your TVs, like in which, like a person who is actually uh, like 34, 30, and more than 50 or 40, and what they are doing, they are raping the child, and that child is just a baby to them, a kind of child to them, a kind of daughter to them, and what they are doing. So it means that in some terms we can say this. Yes, I think that we are going more into details of this, because you know that every time I want that my students must be clear whatever I am just talking about, because they must not uh, familiar with only the terms, or with only the names, or with only the titles, but they must know about the details of everything. So yes, are you clear, or someone else
Yes, sir.
needs to ask any question?
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you so much, sir.
my pleasure. Yes, anyone else? Yes, number.
My question is that how we can relate fortune or fate with free will as portrayed in the play. So we can see that Oedipus killed the king and married the queen. He did so because he defeated the Sphinx and people of Thebes made him king.
Okay.
Why did he? Why didn't he make his own decision that he's not going to be a king?
uh, because the early position that he has left. Yes, yes, you can mute your mic. The early position that he has left, it was the position likely to be the king, because after Polybus, he must be the king of the Corinth at that time. So like he was having the qualities like a king already, like a kind of, you can say, prince. He was not yet a king, but he was a prince at least. So now you see that when he was moving into the town, his intentions were not to be the king, but the circumstances actually made this possible, like after defeating the Sphinx, and you already know that he is arrogant enough, and he is considering himself wise and intelligent enough. Sometimes when I think that, okay, like if I am intelligent, so if I am teaching in a school, so I must be feeling that, okay, this position is not for me. And if I'm teaching at college, I think that this position is not for me as well. But when I am at a position where I feel comfortable to be, then I think that, okay, this position is for me. Similarly, when Oedipus Rex, he was like in already in his mind, he was having the feelings that he will be like not he will not be going for any lower position or any base position. So like when he was given a chance again, that he was already thinking that, okay, and in that city state I was prince, and now I am appointed a new king. So I don't think that anyone will be you can say rejecting that offer. So he did the same. So he got a chance, and he was appointed as a new king. So and he did the same. Okay, because yes,
Yes, sir. But I think after reading that, according to Sophocles, fate is more important than free will, isn't it?
actually it is. Aber, and I have this question is already asked by Nafe, and I told him to wait a little, because after the completion of the text we will be discussing this question. This is again based on our you can say justification or our arguments that we will be taking from our text to justify this point of view. Okay, so this is not an easy as we are considering it. Fate, on the other hand, we can say it is by the gods. Free will action is of Oedipus Rex own. So just wait a little, and after some times, after the completion of the text, we will be discussing everything in detail, because it needs, uh, I think, more than 1 and 2 hours class to discuss only this question of a fate and free will, because this is very problematic. And you, when I will be talking about free will and fate, you will be asking and you will be having a lot of questions in your mind, because we do not have that much time now, and I don't think that you all must be instigating yourselves towards this new fight of free will and fate. So just wait a little, okay, and we will be talking about that. But just ask those questions related to this one, that are basically the short questions, you can say, and we will be coming to them soon, inshallah. Yes. Anyone else? I think everyone is now, everything is now done with the questions, but still, if you need to ask any question, you can ask it via your CR and GR or in the groups as well. So uh, I think we must end this class now, because you also have another class and I also have another class. So take really care of yourself and of your family. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
नाफे यार सर तो वाकई सीरियस हो गए अगर सर ने भी हमें स्लाइड्स भेज दी हमारा तो बेड़ा गर्क हो जाएगा सर कह रहे थे अगर आप लोगों ने इंसान के बच्चों की तरह ऑनलाइन क्लास में नहीं पढ़ना तो मैंने भी ना स्लाइड्स बना के ना उठा के यहाँ पे रख देनी है स्लाइड्स देखते रहो और पढ़ते रहो तो मैम सरताज को भी सलाम
नहीं,
दुआ।
लेकिन उनका काफी पारा चढ़ा हुआ था सर का। सर कह रहे हैं बच्चे क्लास में बोलते ही नहीं है, कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं, कोई आंसर नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं। आधे
उस
बच्चों
सर
से को
ने
सर ने
इतने
पूछा
बच्चों को
तो उनके
बोला,
माइक ही बंद थे।
किसी ने जवाब नहीं दिया। तुम भी यहाँ पे नहीं थे, उल्लू के कान।
हाँ, हाँ जी। सर
सर
बार
तुम्हें
बार पूछ रहे थे तुम्हारा। सर कह रहे थे नाफे ने मुझे गलत टेक्स्ट बताया है, कहाँ पे है वो। हमने कहा सर वो
उसके बाद सर
फोत
ने
हो गया है।
जवाब था बिल्कुल, तुम वहां पे थे ही नहीं। सर नाफे 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 करते रहे और तुम यहाँ पे थे ही नहीं। अच्छा मेरे पास इतना
अच्छा अच्छा
बैलेंस
अच्छा, अब
है।
क्लास फेलो सीआर को मिस कॉल मारने लगे सबके नहीं हम।
खैर उसके बाद तुम्हारी खैर है, बाकी बच्चों ने भी तो नहीं कुछ बोला। सब बच्चों का माइक ऑफ था, चाहे वो मेरा थी, हादी था, उसके बाद कायनात थी, सब 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 ने, किसी ने भी माइक अपना ऑन नहीं किया।
हुमैरा का तो
और
मुझे पता था उसने माइक नहीं ऑन करना, उसने जान के नहीं किया, ये मैं बता रही हूँ।
क्यों?
यार उसकी जो है ना वो क्या